I'm Allison, and I am a working mother, and I say that because my memory is related to, being a working mother. So when I went to the Continuance event about a year ago, and they asked to go back to a place that I cannot return to, I started thinking about places I've been, and I realized, well, I can always go back, but you can't go back to those times. And so I decided to go back to the time when I was a young mom. And I have 4 boys. I'm married with 4 boys. A few of them are here. And I wanted to go back to when I was a young mom and they were babies, because it was such a special time, because I knew it was just going to be so short and yet remarkable. And I went to the time, especially like the night feeding. So you work all day, and I have a very enriching job. I've been in healthcare for 28 years, but the best part of my day was going home to be mom. And especially at night, believe it or not, because the night was just so peaceful, and it was just me and the baby. It was dark, quiet, and it was time for nursing, and I would be with my son, and there was no other work or worries. It was just me and him. And there was a little work on his part, because I could see like the moisture beading up on his forehead, and just listening to all his special little sounds, the cooing and the sighs and the guttural grunts at times. And I would just soak it in. I just loved it. I would hum songs, just feel the warmth of his little body, feeling the tug of his fingers. He had, fat, pudgy little fingers, and he'd grab onto mine, or he'd grab my face, or he'd grab a fistful of hair and he'd start twisting it. And I just soaked it in. And so after a time, then it was time to, return to bed. And our family was a little bit unconventional in that we kept a family bed. And we let our babies decide if they liked their crib or not. So one of them actually did. I would nurse him and lay him down, and he would nuzzle right down and go to sleep easily. But not always. There were times when he was extra tired or unhappy about something, and so he was always welcome. And we made sure we had space for everyone coming and going, because as the family grew, we needed more space, and we took 2 large beds and we pushed them together, and so it accommodated everybody. So soon you had all these little bodies going every which way, limbs overlapping each other, just wrapped up in each other. And I just cherished that time. It would always start off very energetic, trying to, it's bedtime, but they're not ready for bedtime. And so I just love to hear their talking, and they would ask really extraordinary questions, and there was a lot of laughter. And then we tried to settle them down, and we'd start bedtime stories and prayer, and they would start quieting down. And pretty soon their little muscles would be twitching as they started nodding off to sleep. And then in the morning was really fun, because at the light of day, all of a sudden you would see them start stretching out their arms and legs, and they make the funniest faces as they wake up, and they're just all together during that time. And so with that, I think about them today, and they're young men now, and they're very, very close. And I have to wonder, or I really believe that family bed played a part in just drawing them close together and bonding them for life. And I just appreciate that so much. They're true friends, and what more could a mother hope for? But as I was thinking about that, reflecting on this memory in preparation for today, I started thinking about that whole concept of just being, not having any other things coming at you during the day. And it brought me to a time right now that I'm experiencing that. And it's on the other side of the spectrum with my own mother, who is now in a place where we can no longer share memories with each other. It's just not possible. And so when I visit with her, I'm back to that time where I'm just being. I'm just being with Mom, soaking it in. It's still happy. She's loving me being there. I'm loving being with her. I mean, you can't beat that. And it's just a special time, and it's the present. It's appreciating the present. And I think there's a reason why it's called the present, and that's because it's such a real gift. And so, as I knew that those baby days were fading, there was some sadness. So, Mac mentioned how it's hard. Some things are hard to go back to. So this is the hard part. It's fading and it's moving on, and you're excited about the next phase. There's always good things to come, but there's still a loss there. And so I would lay there at night, and I would try to memorize everything about it. I would listen to their breathing, and I'd watch their chest and tummy going up and down. And I would just try to savor it as long as I could. And it's long past now, but I truly hold on to that memory because it was so joyful. So thank you for letting me share it today.
I think it's important to say that I am not sharing a memory before I launch into this. I did share a memory with them, but I wanted to do something a little bit different for the end theme that Creative Mornings is doing. Shouts out to Myra and Mac and Danny for having me, giving me the chance to do this. I appreciate it. So I wrote this little thingy. It's a skit, so bear with me if you don't like skits. I'm just gonna rock through. You're gonna have to listen anyway. Sorry, you better enjoy it. Let's roll. Hey! Hey, how's it going? Hi, I also like dogs and the Office. Hello, I see on your profile you like music. Have you liked music recently? Girl, are you Chinese food? Because I would love to take you out. I'm Danny, by the way. Girl, are you my big toe? Because I'm going to smash you on my coffee table in the middle of the night. They used to call me Spider-Man back in high school. Why is that? Because my uncle got murdered. Oh, I'm only joking, of course. How's your day going? Hey, how's your day going? Hope you're feeling more awake than I am. Oh yeah, it's been a rough day back at work for sure. Drinking a lot of coffee. Oh, for sure. I'm still recovering from that thing that I did over the weekend. No way, I was at that same thing over the weekend. Wow, that is super cool. Did you check out the specific thing that was part of the more general thing? No, I was thinking to check out the specific thing, but there was another tertiary thing that I wanted to check out instead, so I ended up thinking about about that instead. Oh, wow, that's cool. Look, a real human connection. Here's the thing. I think meeting people through text is strange. Do you want to get together in person instead sometime? Hey, what's up? I like your dog. You getting any sun this summer? Oh yeah, it's been nice, but so hot. How's your weekend going? Sorry I didn't message you back right away. I've been really busy. Oh yeah, no, I've been busy too. I'm so busy. I didn't even just write this. So what are you busy with? Well, I'm currently working full time, and I'm getting my master's, and I'm getting my foster parents license, and I'm volunteering. Oh wow, that's wild. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff too, helpful stuff. Oh really, do you volunteer as well? Yeah, kinda. I host a charity bar crawl where everyone wears wolf t-shirts. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, no, I've been doing it for years. It takes a lot of time. Well, that's funny. I hope it goes really well for you. Thanks. Well, I'm sure with your obscenely busy schedule, you'd be free to grab a coffee, beer, and wine milkshake with me sometime this week. You know what? Actually, a coffee, beer, wine milkshake sounds great. I'm free on weekday at after work o'clock if that's good for you. Weekday at after work o'clock sounds great. Perfect. I will see you then. Hey, thank God it's weekday, am I right? Just checking to make sure you're still good to grab a coffee, beer, wine milkshake with me at after work o'clock. Hey, I see on your profile you like widgets. I also like widgets. Look, we're already off to a great start. Yeah, I like widgets. They're great. Really, widgets and doodads are some of my favorite gizmos. My dad actually makes doodads, so I do have a lot of doodads too. Dad, you're funny. I actually know this place that has widgets and doodads if you want to check it out with me on weekday maybe. That sounds great. How about after work o'clock? You know what? That sounds perfect. I will see you there. Hey, thank God it's weekday, am I right? Just checking to make sure you're still good to grab widgets and doodads with me tonight. Yeah, definitely. I will be there. Wow, it's so great to meet you in person. Nice to meet you too. Look at these widgets. Aren't they all great? We're having such a nice time. Wow, I agree. I'm definitely having a good time, but I think I'm enjoying the doodads a little bit more. That's funny. You know, well, to each their own, right? You know, I do love widgets more, but I have to say, I think I have a doodad just like that one. Well, it's funny you should mention that. No, it's funny you should mention that it's funny I should mention that, because I thought it was funny that I had mentioned that to you in the first place. That's funny. You're funny. I know, you mentioned that. Well, I had a great time. I'll definitely see you again later. Not if I see you first. I don't know why I said that. I don't ever say that. I don't even say that kind of stuff, by the way. It's fine. Just let me know when you want to get together again. Will do. Hey, it was great to meet you on weekday. Do you still want to get together again, maybe this weekend? Hi, widgets and doodads. Wow, widgets and doodads too. What a crazy coincidence. Yeah, wild. Coffee, beer, wine, milkshake. Coffee, beer, wine, milkshake sounds great. How about weekday at after work o'clock? Perfect. Hey, great. Thank God it's weekday. Am I right? Still want to get a coffee, beer, wine, milkshake? Definitely. Nice to meet you here at Coffee, Beer, Wine, Milkshake Emporium. Yeah, thanks for taking me here. I've never been. You're going to love it. Wow, I loved it. Let's do this again sometime. That sounds great. Hey, want to hit up Widget Fest with me this weekend? For sure. I love widgets and doodads. Me too, Dad. You're funny. I know, right? These are all of my friends. They're all the same as me, but we look very different. These are all my friends. We're somehow nothing alike, but still get along great. Please don't like one of them more. You're funny. I know, right? This is just great. I love Widget Fest. Me too. We should definitely do this again sometime. For sure. Hey, great times at Widget Fest this past weekend. Still want to get together again this week? Girl, are you Chinese food? Because I would love to take you out. I'm Danny, by the way. Thanks.
I wanted to share a story with you about a traditional, very typical teenage heartbreak. I was in high school, and I was really into this guy. He was an artist. He played the saxophone in band, and we started dating. And our entire relationship only lasted about a year, but I kind of feel like 1 year in high school is kind of like dog years, where it's like 7 years in the real world. So it was a really big deal for me. He was kind of like the first everything. So we used to hang out all the time. We would sneak out really late at night, and even though I totally could have walked out the back door, I used to sneak out the window because I thought it was more romantic. So that tells you a little bit about what I was like in high school. We used to explore. We would climb rooftops. That was definitely illegal. We would go into different areas in the city. We would walk through fields together. We would hold hands under the stars. And we used to go creeking. Is this a thing that other people used to do too? Yeah, it's like a very Midwestern thing maybe. But we would kind of just follow these creeks, and we didn't know where we were going, but we would just follow them for what felt like miles. They were not sewage. It was actual creeks. But there was one moment that we stumbled upon this really magical place. It was actually really close to my house, which was kind of wild. But we had been bushwhacking, we had been creeking, and we came into this clearing, and there was a giant tunnel. It was probably a storm tunnel, and it was maybe 15 feet tall, and there was vegetation everywhere. And hanging from the top of this tunnel was a yellow cord, and on the bottom of the cord was a tire swing. And so it felt really special and really magical. So we used to sit under this tire swing in the summer, and your feet could be dangling in the water, and we would talk about dystopian novels and the future and what kind of people we wanted to be, and we were very intellectual, clearly. He was an artist, so he used to paint graffiti on the walls of this tunnel, and this is where I was in art class, and I used to make photos. And so it was one of those very, what we felt like was a very adult relationship, right? But after finding this place, we would spend all this time together, and then Valentine's Day rolled around, and I had a secret that I really wanted to tell him. And I was really nervous about it, and I wrote him this whole long letter, and we spent all of Valentine's Day together. And I handed him this note with this letter, and at the end of the note was my secret. And I said it out loud. I was like, I love you. And it was huge. And he didn't say it back, but it was fine. And I went home that night, and he called me. I was like, great, he's gonna tell me that he loves me. And so I answer the phone, and I'm super excited, and he's like, hey, we need to break up. And I was like, devastated. I was so devastated. This dude, who breaks up with you on Valentine's Day, first of all? So I just remember the entire world was spinning, because as a teenager, that was like the biggest heartbreak you could have, right? Was this person that was dumping your ass on Valentine's Day. So the next morning I woke up, and I was just in this haze, and I remember thinking, like, I need to ground myself. I need to find some way to find refuge. I was seeking refuge. So I stumbled out of my parents' house and kind of like half-heartedly walked into this special clearing, this place. I like walked down the creek bed, and I pulled away the vegetation, and I looked into this area, and somebody had cut the tire swing. Yeah. So the tire swing was sitting in the creek bed, and it had algae growing on it. It had probably been there for like over a week. And I just remember being hit with this massive, like the first time I had felt it, this massive metaphor of like, oh, fuck. And my first thought was like, yeah, not everything that's good is gonna stick around. So, thank you.
Poems take a little bit of time to crank out, so sorry about the wait with that. So let's see here. I can just do them in order of how everyone spoke. So Allison, this one is for you. Here, underneath these stars, I prepare a space for you in this world. You're new here, and this is your first welcome. I try to make it perfect, though I myself am not. I gaze toward the moon. She approves of my efforts. And with her blessing, you nestle your way into this nest of limbs and blankets. I too will rest, contented for now, knowing your peace will quickly outgrow this puzzle, but I will recraft it every day, no complaints, simply because I love you. All right, Danny, this one's for you. Oh no, everyone's getting theirs. They say ghosts aren't real, but that's a lie. I talk with them daily about my feelings, my needs. I pitch them my best joke material. Sometimes they talk back, sometimes. They're tricksters and teases. They like to get close enough to almost feel. Almost. They like to leave me hanging by threads, but I quite enjoy the torture. I think I'll keep this up, forever haunted. And Biz, this one's for you. You gave me a gift. It's in a box marked, "Don't open till 2:14. I bide my time, impatient, eager. You've given me nothing but treats so far, and I'm sure this is the biggest one yet. Tick-tock goes the clock, and on the dot I rip the paper off. No time to flinch or think. A yowl escapes as my heart is pierced. Reality checks hurt, no matter how prettily they're wrapped." Thank you.